Welcome everybody in Intensity Broadcasting. My name's Josh Hall. This is the Doghouse Racing League Tuesday Night Racing Series brought to you by Shoney's. As we get ready, excuse me, for an action-packed night here tonight at Pocono Raceway. See Jonathan Jennings slide in that car around turn number 2 here at Pocono. Awesome track. This is one of my favorite tracks here on the season. Really looking forward to watching a race here tonight. Let's take a look at the speed charts. We'll pop that on the ticker at the top of the screen. No surprise though, Jonathan Jennings currently the fastest car on the track. Let's take a look at our points coming in tonight, and surprisingly Jonathan Jennings is not your points leader. In fact, I think that's the wrong points. That is definitely the wrong points up on the screen. I apologize. I erased the wrong ones. So let me get those points back up on the screen for you guys. So give me just a moment. But meanwhile, let's take a look at more drivers out on the racetrack. See that 98 of Jamie Horn out on the racetrack right now, getting his final laps of practice underway. Jamie currently the 4th quickest driver on the speedway. Continue to get these correct points up on the screen for you guys. Got a ton of stuff going on in the chat here though. Steven Tucker in the chat says, kick their butts, Chris Leftwich. Oh yeah, go Mike Leftwich, wreck Chris if you have to get that dub. Watch out for track seepage, it's bad here, bub. I'm definitely not going to give you one of those. Or a Huck too. Yeah, no. Somebody's been watching their memes quite well here the last... Oh boy. It's going to be one of those nights, I can already tell. I love it though. I love it. Keep it coming. Love to see the participation in the chat here. Again, I'm not really sure what happened to the points there, but we're gonna. I think I know what happened to them. I think I put them... I did. I put them in the wrong folder. And that's why I couldn't find them. But it's all good as we get things going here. Let's see what else is on track here. We see Tyler Millette in that 94 machine. Now we'll pop the proper points up on the screen for you, and surprisingly not Jonathan Jennings at the top of the leaderboard. It is Steven Bunomo, who's been very consistent in the last few weeks. Has a couple podium finishes here, and continue those winning or trying to keep himself on the podium here tonight for the 3rd time in a row. See, Chad Waller was your points leader. He dropped back a spot. Mark Dumont, though, jumps up 12 points up into 3rd, and we'll leave you this up on the screen so you can see where your favorite driver is in the top 25 in points. See Christopher Simon up there, tied for 3rd as well. Jonathan Jennings back in 5th. Kevin Powell, his teammate, back in 6th. Lucas Edwards back in the 7th spot. So quite a few big movers there. You see Daniel Wilkinson moving up 10 spots, as well as Trevor McLaughlin moving up 10 spots last week. So some big movers throughout the points here the last week or so, as we got about 30 seconds left here in practice. Oh man. Having some fun there in the chat. Yeah, we want to thank everybody for joining us here tonight, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or over on Kick. We do appreciate you joining us here tonight. Don't forget to hit that like button, follow, and subscribe. And hit that little notification bell so you know anytime we go live here on Intensity Broadcasting, as the checker flag is currently out here in practice. It'll be a long time before we get our first laps underway here. So I want to thank our great partners here tonight who bring you the racing and make this possible for you, including your series sponsor, Shoney's. That was the wrong button. There we go. Including Shoney's. Doghouse. That is not Shoney's. I'm having all sorts of issues with my button box here tonight. Let's try this once again. Doghouse Racing League's Tuesday night series is proud to be sponsored by Shoney's. Shoney's is open daily for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Stop by one of their West Virginia locations and try their freshly prepared legendary breakfast bar, or take home a whole strawberry pie. Shoney's, delicious food and friendly service since 1947. Of course, also want to mention our great partner over at Butt Kicker. Butt Kicker is established and well-known leader in gaming haptics. The award-winning line of Butt Kicker products lets users feel low-frequency sounds. Their products are used and endorsed around the world by leading PC and console gamers, including professional sim racers. To check out the full line of Butt Kicker products and figure out what's right for you, visit thebuttkicker.com. I also want to shout out our web store over at intensityracing.com. If you're a small race team looking for some swag, get a quote today over to intensityracing.com. You can also pick up Atman Weiss's racing gear, as well as a couple other local Virginia drivers racing gear down there. So you can check it all out over at intensityracing.com. So we got Tyler Millette out on the racetrack, coming to get his first of 2 laps underway. And long laps here. We should see laps somewhere around the 50-second mark as they come around this uniquely shaped triangle racetrack. We'll talk about the shape of this in just a few minutes. So we see Millette coming down the backstretch towards what's known as the tunnel turn, turn 2. And sets himself up for the most important turn on this racetrack, which is turn number 3. And I say that because it leads to the longest straightaway in NASCAR, the Long Pond Straightaway. Straightaway here is 3,740 feet. That is a long straightaway. As Jonathan Jennings, currently the fastest driver out on the racetrack. We see him diving down and sliding that thing sideways through the tunnel turn. That's how you make up all your speed through the tunnel turn for sure. Down into turn number 3. And across the stripe, and Jennings is currently up at the top of the leaderboard with a 54.23. Justin McMahon just went 54.43, although Jamie Horn knocks McMahon back a spot into the 3rd position. But McMahon still has one more lap to go. So the tricky triangle, as it's known here at Pocono Raceway, will show you the shape of the track there. As you see, Justin McMahon making his way into turn number 2. We call it the tunnel turn. All 3 corners, completely unique corners here, modeled after other racetracks of the time. We'll take a ride around with one of the drivers as they come around here. As Jennings goes I'm sorry, McMahon goes P3 here. So turn number 1, it's banked at 14 degrees. It's modeled after the old Trenton Speedway in New Jersey. Turn number 2, 8 degrees of banking, known as a tunnel turn. It's modeled after Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And turn 3, 6 degrees of banking. It's the flattest of the 3 corners. It's modeled after the Milwaukee Mile. So in real life setting, or even on the sim, setting up a car to run well here is tough, because you've got 3 totally different shaped corners, 3 totally different bankings. But if you're going to be good at any of them, it's going to be turn number 3, so you can get that good launch off of turn 3 and onto the long pond straightaway. As we have about 10 seconds left here in qualifying. Here's Fire Marshal Bill. Steven Tucker asked, he said he'll be making his return to the league after a 3-year hiatus. We'll look forward to seeing you back here, Steven. It'll be good to have another driver out on the racetrack. But that's going to do it for qualifying. Let's take a look at our starting grid here tonight. And starting on pole, that familiar 91 machine of Jonathan Jennings. Jamie Horn will be rolling off position number 2. Jessup Command in the 24. He'll roll off from 3rd with Lucas Edwards in the 76 from the 4th position. Kevin Powell in the 93. He'll roll off 5th with Jeffrey Engel with a great 6th place starting spot. Christopher Simon back in 7th, and Tyler Millette round out row number 4. Row 5 will find the 13 of Chris Leftwich with John Smith in the 99, rolling off 10th. Mike Leftwich will be starting right behind Chris in the 11th position with Gary Amio in the 12, rolling off 12th. I'm sorry, in the 7, rolling off 12th. Excuse me. Row 13 will be your points leader, Stephen Bonomo, with Gary Clune back in 14th, Adam Weichel back in the 15th position, and Mark Dumont, last week's winner, rolls off 16th. 17th will be Daniel Wilkerson with Bill Gentry back in 18th. 19th is Richard Leclerc and Eric Warman back in the 20th position. And then rounding out the field here tonight will be the 50 of Michael Dow. So as the field gets gridded up here on pit road, we'll see the pace car get ready to roll off onto this long 2.5 mile speedway. And again, long pit laps here at Pocono Raceway. Thank you, Steven. I appreciate the kind words about the broadcast. It's been it's been a lot of fun, especially this league. This is an awesome league to announce each and every week. Good, clean racing. Lots of respect. Lindsay Engel says, let's go Jeffrey Engel. Again, starting from the 6th position. So Jeffrey having a great starting spot here tonight. We'll see if he's able to hold on to that starting spot. As we see the field forming up here in the tunnel turn. And the other thing we'll be watching for tonight is shifting. These drivers will be shifting, especially down into turn number 1. While that helps you get a good launch off the corner, it can cause some issues if you miss your shift, over rev the engine, cause some engine damage, or even spin. Get a little wheel hop into the corner, cause that car to spin right around. So watch for that to be a troublesome spot here tonight. Off of turn number 3 always tends to be a troublesome spot because that corner really sneaks up on you. That wall really sneaks up on you off of turn number 3. But here we go. Pace car is off. Green flag is in the air. And we are racing here at Pocono Raceway. And one thing you wouldn't expect to be a big deal here at Pocono, but will be as the race goes on, and that is the draft. As they go side by side down into turn number 1 for the lead. Jamie Horn up on the high side, Jennings on the low side. Jennings going to get that good launch off of turn number 1 and sets himself up towards the tunnel turn. We see a little bit of jostling around in the back of the field. Everybody seems to get straightened out there as we see Lucas Edwards trying to get around the 24 of Justin McMahon. He will clear McMahon off of turn number 2 as Jennings drives down into the flattest turn, turn number 3. And off of turn 3 and down the long pond straightaway. And this is where the drafting really comes into play as the yellow is out for the first time. Oh, big wreck here. We got one over on his roof. That looked like Eric Warman went for a wild ride here. And that's going to bring up our first wreckage rewind of the night. Take a look to see here what happened. Oh, Warman got tagged there by Bill Gentry hard into the outside wall. That car gets up in the fence, up in the air. We see that car go for a tumble down the front stretch. The 117 of Richard Leclerc caught up in this one as well. As parts go flying, and the 31 goes for a wild ride down the front stretch here at Pocono. And that will do it for Eric Warman, not even able to complete a full lap. Well, I guess he did complete a lap as he was flipping over the start-finish line. There's another look at it here. Bill Gentry involved, the 117 of Leclerc. It looks like Michael Dow, I think he just went sliding down pit road. I don't think he hit anything. Yeah, we see the 50 making an evasive move down towards pit road. And Jonathan Jennings fakes coming down on the pit road. It's a little too early to come down pit road just yet, although fuel mileage is a thing here. As, yeah, Stephen Tucker says, holy crap. Yeah, that was a big one there for Tucker. And Lindsay, of course, you're always welcome for the broadcast on Facebook and on YouTube. And we're over on Kick too. So let's take one more ride here with this one. See just how fast it happens for Warman here as you see him take that wild ride there on the front stretch. So we cross the line. Next time by, we'll have one to go. Of course, the real big news of this season is the lack of Jonathan Jennings up at the front. He's been leading a lot of laps, running some great races. Unfortunately, has not had the finishes to show. Two races in, and Jonathan Jennings is yet to find victory lane. Could tonight be the night, or does Jamie Horn have something for that 91 machine here tonight? Of course, can Stephen Bonomo get his third podium in a row? The lights on the pace car are off. Jonathan Jennings is going to choose that inside lane, putting Jamie Horn up on the high side. Row 2 be Lucas Edwards on the bottom, Justin McMahon in fourth, Kevin Powell and Jeffrey Engel, your top 6. And restarts here at Pocono are always wild. If sometimes we'll see these drivers fan out 3, 4, 5, 6 wide down the front stretch down into turn number 1. Especially if we get a late race caution. It's very, very common to see something like that. As the field comes down into turn number 2. Get ready for a restart. We'll see if some of our podium drivers from last week can make their way up through the field. Of course, Mark Dumont got the win last week. He's currently up 1 spot in the 15th. Christopher Simon, he's hanging around the 7th position, 7th, 8th position. And Steven Bonomo currently back in 11th. He's gained 2 spots since the drop of the green flag. We'll see if that continues as the field makes their way off of turn number 3. Pace car takes that hard left-hand turn down on the pit road. And green flag is back in the air. We are back racing here at Pocono. Field starting to fan out a little bit down into turn number 1. Ooh, one driver just touches the wall there going down into the corner as McMahon stuck up on that high side. Not where you want to be off of turn number 1. Oh, one car around. Tyler Millette went around, hard contact with the inside wall. Caution is out for the second time here tonight. And that's going to bring up our second wreckage rewind of the evening. Let's see if we can see what happened to Millette. If he just lost it on his own here on the inside of Jeffrey Engel. Makes a little contact with Engel. Goes sliding down and hard into that inside wall. Now it looks like Millette had to tow. Looks like his night might be done as well. And at this point, I don't even think we've run one full lap under green flag, so I don't see anybody making their way down on the pit road this time. Everybody should be staying out. Of course, the season here has an exciting schedule for the rest of the season. Next week, we move on to Charlotte Motor Speedway. Then we'll have a week off for the 4th of July week. Then we'll be right back here as we'll go a little turning left and turning right for the Shoney 70 at Sonoma Raceway. Then move on to Worldwide Technology Raceway, also known as Gateway. Milwaukee Mile, another great racetrack for these cars. That'll be a lot of fun to watch. Again, turn 3 here is modeled after Milwaukee, so almost a little bit of practice for these guys here tonight. Then we'll move on to Nashville Super Speedway, Las Vegas, Bristol Motor Speedway, Talladega, and round out the season at Homestead, Miami. So a great plethora of tracks here, a lot of different disciplines. It's going to be a great one for sure. It's also going to allow for, I think, a little bit different, a few different winners here as we have, you know, the road courses, the short tracks, the long tracks. Again, we've already seen 2 different winners here so far this season. Of course, I want to thank all our great partners here that make this possible, including your series sponsor, Shoney's. The Doghouse Racing League's Tuesday Racing Series is proud to be brought to you by Shoney's. Shoney's is open daily for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Stop by one of their West Virginia locations and try their freshly prepared breakfast bar and take home a whole strawberry pie. Shoney's, delicious food and friendly service since 1947. Also, we can't forget about our great partners here at Intensity Broadcasting, including our web store over at intensityracing.com. You can pick up some novelty t-shirts. Atlee, Atman, Weese's Racing Gear is there as well. And if you're a small-time race team looking for some swag, get a quote today over at intensityracing.com. So we also want to thank our great partner over at Butt Kicker. Butt Kicker is a well-known and established leader in gaming haptics. The award-winning line of Butt Kicker products lets users feel low-frequency sounds. Their products are used and endorsed around the world by leading PC and console gamers, including professional sim racers. To find out which one is right for you, visit thebuttkicker.com. And while you're there, check out what movie theaters in your area use Butt Kicker technology as well. That's right, you can feel the movies with Butt Kicker. So check that all out at thebuttkicker.com. Of course, we also want to thank our great partner over at Race EPI for all your iRacing coaching and setup needs. Visit raceepi.com as we get them re-racked, restacked, and we're going to get ready to go racing again here at the end of this lap. Jonathan Jennings again chooses that inside lane. So Jennings on the inside, Jamie Horn to the outside, Lucas Edwards, Justin McMahon back in row number 2, Kevin Powell and Jeffrey Engel back in row number 3, Christopher Simon and Mike Leftwich back in row 4, and back in row 5 we'll find John Smith and Mark Dumont. We see Chris Leftwich actually out of the race. I don't remember seeing him having any issues here tonight, so I'm not sure what happened to Chris. Here we go, pace car down on the pit road. Green flag is back in the air. And again, another great jump for Jonathan Jennings down towards turn number 1. Again, Justin McMahon stuck up on that high side. You see one car coming down on of pit road. And Jonathan Jennings has Jamie Horn sitting right there, right behind, trying to force an error out of the 91. And Lucas Edwards right there as well, hanging back in the 3rd spot. Drives it kind of deep into turn number 3. As you see, the sun's starting to peek out here at Pocono Raceway. Got an update on what happened in that last incident. Tyler Millette says never got a spotter call that Jeffrey was there. Caught a glimpse at the last second. Tried to keep it down. He broke loose. Not even catch anybody else up in there. So, tough break there. Tyler, been there. Sometimes that spotter just doesn't call it. The other one I hate is if you use crew chief. For those that iRacing know about the crew chief program, sometimes you'll be 3 wide. And instead of saying clear high or clear low, it'll just tell you you're clear, and you'll make the mistake and wash up into somebody or pull down on somebody. So unfortunately, it's not always perfect, as you see Bill Gentry has went out, made a lap, and then pulled back down onto pit road. I believe his night will be done here tonight as the field makes their way down into turn number 1. Your top 4 under a blanket. They're all nose to tail here. They're starting to pull away from 5th place Kevin Powell a little bit. Jeffrey Engel still holding tight there back in 6th. But right now we've got a battle up here. A little bit of drafting going on, a little bit of a breaking of the draft. We see that serpentine down the little short chute towards turn number 2. As the snake comes off of turn 2 and into turn number 3. Again, the most important turn, as we see Lucas Edwards right there takes a look down underneath Jamie Horn. He's going to have the position off of turn number 2. They're going to be side by side. This is what Jonathan Jennings wants to see in his mirror, but then we see a little bit of a push there as McMahon is going to give a shove to Jamie Horn down the front stretch and into turn number 1. We're seeing bump drafting, some pushing going on like you see at a super speedway. Now Kevin Powell right there is the top 5 are now lined up nose to tail. And Lucas Edwards is going to try to make a run here at Jonathan Jennings. Jennings off the wall a little bit, trying to break that draft as they go down into the tunnel turn. And now we see our top 7 are pretty much lined up nose to tail. A little bit of a gap there between Jennings and Edwards, but all the way back we see even Mike Leftwich and Christopher Simon right here in the mix as well. So draft coming into play as they come down the front stretch. We see Jennings use that little serpentine trying to break the draft down the front stretch and into turn number 1. Right off the back bumper of Jonathan Jennings. And it doesn't sound like Jennings is actually shifting here down into turn number 1. So he might be in 4th gear all the way around the racetrack. A little lift there for Jonathan Jennings. That's going to allow Lucas Edwards to pull right up on the back bumper. Is he going to be able to make a move down here into turn number 1? Is he going to try to outbrake him? It looks like Edwards is going to try to outbrake Jennings down into turn number 1. They are side by side for the lead. Jennings trying to hold on to that top spot as they come off of turn number 1. Getting away from each other as far as they can, trying to break that side draft, and Jonathan Jennings is going to hold on to the lead, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Lucas Edwards try to make that move yet again. And see Solomon on the YouTube there saying, let's go Edwards, let's go Engel. You've got Edwards battling with Jonathan Jennings again for the lead, trying to look down to the inside. It's going to be a drag race down the front stretch here. No, Edwards is going to tuck back in line. And he's going to try to give it a go. He'll have to wait another lap before he's able to try to make that work yet again. See Edwards washes up the track there. Loses a ton of track position to Jonathan Jennings. He's going to fall right back into the clutches of Jamie Horn as they make their way down to the tunnel turn, turn number 2. Ooh, got word here that Chris Leftwich's power went out. Having some major storms in Ohio. I know there's some wicked weather all through the Midwest right now, so unfortunately, that is why he has retired from the race. as this battle for the lead continues on here between Jonathan Jennings and Lucas Edwards. Here comes Jamie Horn now into the mix here. As Jamie Horn's going to take a look down to the inside of Lucas Edwards. Edwards washes up the track. He's going to allow Horn right on by. They make their way down towards turn number 3 and set themselves up for the Long Pond straightaway. Meanwhile, a little further back, we see Jeffrey Engel, Mike Leftwich, and Christopher Simon all battling back here. This is a battle for 6th, 7th, and 8th. Meanwhile, Lucas Edwards going to lose another position here to Justin McMahon, as McMahon's going to dive down to the inside of the 76 down into turn number 1. You see Jeffrey Engel up on the high side trying to hold on to that 6th position. You're just joining us. A few drivers retired on a big wreck on the opening lap that caught up Eric Warman. We saw Eric Warman flipping down the front stretch. Bill Gentry caught up in that one as well. And the 117 of Richard Leclerc, Michael Dow was also caught up in that. He was able to just escape down pit road. And then on our next restart, we saw Tyler Millette get up into Jeffrey Engel. While Millette got the worst of that. Went spinning down, caught the inside wall. That pretty much ended his night. And then Chris Leftwich, as I just mentioned, with some storms in his area, power went out, so he has retired from the event as well. Which leaves 17 cars still in the race. And all 17 of them currently on the lead lap. Well, you see Michael Dow here coming down into turn number 1. Not too far out in front of Jonathan Jennings. As the field is starting to spread out just a little bit. Jeffrey Engel has been shuffled back into the 8th position. And he's got Gary Clune and John Smith side by side battling behind him towards the tunnel turn. Smith's got that rundown on the low side. Looks like he's going to take that position away. Well, here comes Jeffrey Engel fighting back on the high side off of turn number 3 as they come to the Long Pond straightaway. That's going to be a drag race down into turn number 1. Smith down on the low side, Engel up on the high side. You see Gary Clune right there as well, as the three of them come off of turn number 1, and Smith is going to have the run down the straightaway towards the tunnel turn. So Jeffrey Engel's going to fall back into the 9th position. Just try to hold off Gary Clune here for a few laps. Meanwhile, just in front of this, we see Mike Leftwich and Christopher Simon. Mike Leftwich up 5 positions up into the 6th spot. A great run here with his teammate Chris Simon right behind. But up front right now, it's all Jonathan Jennings, about a second ahead of Jamie Horn. You see Jamie Horn about a second ahead of Justin McMahon. as we've reached the halfway point. 20 laps to go here in the event. We should see everybody come down pit road one more time. That's Christopher Simon now all over his teammate's back bumper into turn number 1. Tommy takes a look down to the inside of Mike Leftwich down into the tunnel turn. And Leftwich is going to take that position away. I'm sorry, Simon's going to take that position away. So move Christopher Simon up into the 6th position. Here comes John Smith up into the mix here as well. So John Smith able to get around Mike Leftwich, excuse me, as Just McMahon has just gotten around Jamie Horn for the 2nd position. Take a look how that pass was made here. Pretty textbook here in the tunnel turn. As Kevin Powell now looking down to the inside of Lucas Edwards, trying to take over the 4th position. Really Edwards able to hold off Kevin Powell for now to hold on to that 4th position. As the battle for the 2nd position is continuing to heat up here. See right behind him, Daniel Wilkerson, who has come down pit road to make his pit stop. We're seeing other drivers making their way down on the pit road. Lucas Edwards, Kevin Powell, both down on the pit road. We should start to see more and more drivers making their way down pit road. Adam Weichel down on pit road as well. Having trouble finding his pit stall. See Jennings come off of turn number 3. We'll stay out on the racetrack. We see Jamie Horn diving down on the pit road. Got John Smith on the pit road here as well. Jeffrey Engel coming down on the pit road. So green flag pit stops underway. Looks like Chris Leftwich is in the chat here. As you see Jonathan Jennings diving down on the pit road, that's going to give the lead of the race to Justin McMahon. as Jennings makes his way down the long pit road. More drivers in the back pit as well. Gary Clune, Stephen Bonomo. Ooh, locks him up a little bit coming down. You see Jennings make his way all the way down this very long pit lane to the number 1 pit stall. Another very unique thing about the pit road here at Pocono, it is actually elevated. You see right there between Stephen Bonomo's pit and Tyler Millett's pit, there's actually a bit of a hill. You go uphill and downhill on pit road, which is kind of unique. Gotta be careful not to speed as you cross over that crest. As here comes Justin McMahon making his way down on the pit road. That's going to give the lead of the race to the 60 car of Mike Leftwich. So with 13 laps to go, green flag pit stops currently underway. Jonathan Jennings is able to get off and on pit road, but look how much time Jamie Horn has gained, as he is right there on the back bumper as they go down into turn number 1. Justin McMahon going to lose a couple spots there. You see Lucas Edwards going around as well. There's the 50 of Michael Dow. He's a couple laps down. But the big news here is the battle for what will be the lead now. Mike Leftwich coming down on the pit road. And this is the battle for the race win right here as they come off of turn number 2. And Jamie Horn trying to give everything he's got to throw at the 91. Horn right there in the tire marks of Jonathan Jennings down into turn at number 1. I see Jennings come down off the wall trying to break that draft, pull a little serpentine down the straightaway there, or as they call it in IndyCar, the Dragon. I imagine we'll see much of the same here down the front stretch, down the Long Pond Straight. And you see Jennings all the way down trying to break that draft. Jamie Horn is getting right there. Right there on the back bumper and not letting up. Chris Leftwich says, watch out, he'll wreck Jennings. And we've seen Jamie not afraid to use that front bumper. As they come across the stripe this time, we'll have just 10 laps to go. Jennings throws a block down the front stretch. And into turn number 1. Horn doing everything he can to stay right there on the back bumper of Jonathan Jennings in case Jennings slips up and makes a mistake. Hey boys, play nice in the chat, will ya? Jamie Horn, oh, slides it off a turn at number 3. Tries to get a great run down the front stretch, but he's going to lose a little bit of time here to Jennings down into turn at number 1. Could we see a little Ryan Newman, Dale Earnhardt action here for the race win? As we mentioned, we know Horn's not afraid to use that front bumper, trying to loosen up that 91 machine. Could we see a bump and run here at Pocono? Horn able to run a little bit lower through turns 3 and 4. Is that going to give Jennings a better run? Oh, Horn hits the wall. Horn catches the wall off of turn at number 3 with 8 laps to go. He's going to have to regroup and see if he doesn't have, hopefully he doesn't have too much damage on that car. He's able to recover and try to give another shot here at Jonathan Jennings. They're coming up on the lap car of Richard Leclerc. Now that gap is starting to shrink yet again as Jamie Horn doesn't look like he's got any damage here. He's able to slowly eat back into the gap as we have 7 laps to go. Just 0.2 of a second separate our top 2. And it's 3 seconds back to our third place driver, Lucas Edwards. With Justin McMahon about a second behind Edwards and charging hard towards the 76 machine. Jamie Horn pushing as hard as he can here. He's cut that lead back down to about 2 car lengths as they go down into turn number 3. See Jamie trying to be a little more conservative off of turn number 3, trying not to get into that outside wall. 6 laps to go. Right along here with Horn, and we see he has to lift a little bit there through the tunnel turn, and that's a tricky turn. That turn is so slick here, down into turn number 3. Trying to pick up that throttle. To make another run at Jonathan Jennings here with just 5 laps to go. Meanwhile, side-by-side battle here for the final podium spot between Lucas Edwards and Justin McMahon. McMahon on 1 lap fresher tires able to clear Lucas Edwards. I'm sorry, that's 3 lap fresher tires on the 24 and able to get around that 76 machine. Right behind me, see Christopher Simon down to the inside of Jonathan Smith. As they go 3 wide, they got Michael Dow way up on the high side. 3 wide through the tunnel turn. That is sketchy for sure. They're able to make it work as Christopher Simon's still trying to get around the 99 of John Smith. John Smith up on that high side is going to be able to hold on to that position as Christopher Simon bounces off the wall. We have 4 laps to go. Jonathan Jennings' lead is now 3/4 of a second. It looks like Jamie Horn has burned off his tires trying to get around that 91 machine. As next time we come by, we'll have just 3 laps to go. Christopher Simon falls back in line behind John Smith. So he's going to try to set him up here for another go. Meanwhile, Mike Leftwich, Jeffrey Engel. This is a battle for 9th and 10th. Leftwich down to the inside. As they come off of turn number 3, they're going to be side-by-side drag racing down towards turn number 1. As they come side by side off of turn number 1. Oh, contact! Mike Leftwich thought he was clear, came up into Jeffrey Engel. Both drivers slapped the wall. Doesn't look like too much damage to either car. But here comes Steven Bonomo up into the top 10 now. That's your points leader, trying to hold on to that top spot. As we have 2 laps to go. And John Smith and Christopher Simon still going at it. Simon's going to try to take a dive down into turn number 1. No, he's going to stay tucked in right behind. As now Lucas Edwards and Kevin Powell are battling it out for the 4th position. Jonathan Jennings comes down the front stretch. He's going to take the white flag here. 1 lap to go. He's got a big lead now on Jamie Horn, who sits 1.3 seconds back. Unless something catastrophic happens, this one's going to be all Jonathan Jennings tonight here. Trying to get his first win of the season. Down into turn number 2. While this battle continues on between Lucas Edwards and Kevin Powell. Powell going to get around Lucas Edwards and take over that 4th position. As Jonathan Jennings comes through turn number 3 for the final time. Down to the stripe, and Jonathan Jennings is going to get his first win of the season here at Pocono. Jamie Horn brings it home in 2nd. And Justin McMahon is going to come across the line in 3rd. Kevin Powell 4th, and Lucas Edwards your top 5. But it's all about this man right here. Man of the hour, number 91, Jonathan Jennings. Again, getting his first win of the season. Jennings going to make his way around to the front stretch, where he's going to celebrate his win here tonight. Well, see how these burnouts go. He's a little rusty, hasn't won in a while here on Tuesday nights. And you see Kevin Powell celebrating there as well. Teammates, brothers going celebrate there on the front stretch as Jennings gonna burn that thing down right at the entrance of pit road. And, oh, Mike Leftwich almost collects Jonathan Jennings there. And let's take a look at our results here tonight as Jonathan Jennings gets the win. Jamie Horn comes back to second. Just McMahon, Kevin Powell, and Lucas Edwards round out your top 5. John Smith brings it home with a 6th place finish. Christopher Simon back in 7th. Gary Kloon, Jeffrey Engel, and Stephen Bonomo your top 10. Daniel Wilkerson rebounds for an 11th place finish. Mike Leftwich back to 12th. Adam Weichel back in 13th. Gary Amio and Mark Dumont round out your top 15. Richard Leclerc, after being involved in a lap 1 incident, comes home in 16th. Michael Dow back in 17th. Tyler Millette in 18th. 19th was Bill Gentry. Chris Leftwich 20th. And Eric Warman in the 21st position. In the chat here, we see Goodwin 91. You whooped them. Hang on to that 6th place finish. Chris Leftwich says, come on, Dad, basically, when he got up into Engel there. Chris Leftwich says, I taught him everything he knows. And Lizzie says, let's be happy all the drivers race hard. Congratulations, everyone. Yeah, it was a great race. These drivers definitely raced hard all race long. And let's go ahead and talk to our top 3, starting with our 3rd place finisher, Justin McMahon. Hey, Justin, you got Josh up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Sorry, I didn't mean to pull you out of that conversation you were having right there. But, man, a good run for you here tonight. I know you've been struggling a little bit this season, and back up on the podium here tonight. Talk about your race here and what you're able to do here to get yourself up into the podium.
Yeah, I guess get spread out and stay up near the front to stay away from all the havoc and mayhem for once here this season.
Yeah, it seemed like there was quite a bit of mayhem at the very beginning of the race, and then the rest of the race went green flag. With those first 2 cautions coming out the way they did, were you kind of expecting one more there, or were you kind of expecting this one to stretch out like it did there at the end?
No. Honestly, I think I was just I was expecting it to go green like it did the rest of the way. The only thing that might have thrown a wrench into it is late into the run when we guys had to pit for fuel and stuff, that guys might have issues either making it into the pits or coming out of the pits when they're trying to blend back in turn 1 and have other guys that are on the track going in. But no, other than that, I think some of the kinks got worked out there early. It's unfortunate for Bill and Tyler there that got involved in a wreck. The first 2 cautions there, it's unfortunate for them, but no, I'm kind of glad it went green the rest of the way. It kind of, took the strategy not necessarily out of it, but it allowed us to kind of spread out and kind of you could really see who was going to save their tires and who wasn't.
Yeah, and you were one of the ones that went in a little bit later, saved those tires, and able to work your way up to the podium. So again, congratulations on the podium here tonight. Again, it's been an up and down season for a lot of drivers here tonight. Glad to see you back up on the podium here. And of course, before we let you go, who you got to thank, who you got to shout out here tonight?
Yeah, Doghouse for putting the league on. Daniel does a great job, and all the admins and everybody else do a hell of a job. All of our sponsors, and Group 6 for the sponsor on my car, and you guys for doing the broadcast.
Awesome, man. I know next week we move on to Charlotte. How do you like your chances over at Charlotte next week?
I feel pretty good. Charlotte's a pretty fun track. I feel like if strategy plays out, I think it'll work, especially if it stays green. I don't think it will there. It's a little bit tighter track than Pocono. A lot can happen, but I'm just gonna cross our fingers and hope that getting back on the podium is a sign for bringing me in the right direction this season.
Absolutely. Like I said, a bunch of drivers who haven't had a podium here tonight, or this season yet. So again, congrats on the 3rd place finish. Good luck next week at Charlotte, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a great night.
You too.
So that was your 3rd place finisher, Justin McMahon. Let's bring in your second place finisher here tonight, Jamie Horn. Jamie, you got Josh in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Man, great run for you here tonight. Coming up just a little bit short. Looked like you might have burnt your stuff off just a little bit early trying to get to Jennings there. I know you smacked the wall there pretty good as well. Did that end up hurting your car and costing you a chance there at the win?
The contact with the wall really didn't too much. I drove in too deep, a few too many laps there with Jonathan, and tried to back off a little bit and let the tires cool off. And at that point, it was just kind of too late.
Well, a great run for you here tonight. Looked like a lot of strategy going on. As I mentioned to Justin there, we had those two quick cautions, and almost kind of thought that was going to be the way the race was going to go, just a couple quick cautions here and there. But it ended up spraying out and having that green flag run. Did that benefit you having those long runs, or were you kind of hoping for a caution and kind of put everybody back on even playing field?
No, I'd rather have the long run because I felt like I could do fairly well at saving the tires and not burn them off. So I really want to do a long run instead of the quick cautions because cautions kind of bring more caution. So I would rather keep it green and long runs than caution after caution.
Especially a track like this where caution laps are almost 2 minutes long. That's not what you want to be doing pacing here.
No.
But man, great job coming home P2 here tonight. Next week we move on to Charlotte Motor Speedway. How do you like your chances at the mile and a half there?
I'm, Charlotte's not my favorite track, but it's not one that I absolutely hate. So I'm looking forward to going there and seeing what we can accomplish there, and hopefully keep finishing up in the top 2 or 3. That'd be good to make up for the last couple of weeks. So ready to get onto it and see what we can do there.
Awesome, man. Well, again, congratulations with the runner-up finish here tonight. Before we let you go, anyone want to thank? Any shots you got to give here tonight?
Give a shout out to my team and all the help they've been doing, and shout out to Jonathan on his win. That was a good job. SSR Designs for coming on the car, being a sponsor, and I can't forget to give a shout out to my number one fan, Chris Leftwich. So, thank you for everything you do, and y'all have a good night.
Awesome, man. Well, again, congrats on the runner-up. Hopefully we'll talk to you again soon, and good luck next week at Charlotte.
Yes, sir. Have a good night.
You as well. That was your second place finisher, Jamie Horn. And for the first time this season, we'll welcome in our winner, Jonathan Jennings. Jonathan, you got Josh in the booth. You got me?
Yes, sir. I got you.
I know this is kind of crazy to say, but third race of the season. Congratulations on your first win of the season. I know the season has not been going the way that you kind of wanted it to, but you find yourself back on the top step of the podium here tonight. Talk about that race, because I know it seemed like at the beginning of the race we had those two quick cautions. I thought that was going to set the tone of the race, but we ended up spreading out, and that long run kind of helped you out because it looked like you were able to save things a little bit better than the drivers behind you.
Yeah, that's kind of what I needed. I needed to get some sort of separation so I could determine when I can pit, and But yeah, the beginning of the season been rough. But I mean, one's a plate track and the other was a short track. So.
Yeah,
but
it hasn't been for lack of trying, because I know you've been right up front for most of that last race as well.
Yeah, I love Five Flag, but my luck there is.
Well, you turned your luck around here at Pocono with a great race. I know this track is a tricky one for sure, but you're able to hold on to those tires better than anybody else. Next week we move over to Charlotte. How do you like your chances at the mile and a half there?
I like Charlotte, but I cannot remember the last time I've been there in that Xfinity car, so it's going to take some practice, and hopefully we have to drive them and they're not stuck to the track like the Cup cars. So.
Yeah, this car definitely. That's one thing I like about these Xfinity cars is you really have to drive them. They're so much different than the trucks and the next gen cars. They have so little grip that small spoiler on the back really takes into play and really puts it into the driver's hands. I know that kind of plays into your hands having the car in your control. So good luck next week at Charlotte. Of course, as always, Jonathan, before we let you go, anyone you want to thank, any shots you got to give here tonight?
You guys for the broadcast. Daniel and all the admins for putting the stuff together every week. The series sponsor, I'm not exactly sure who it is this season.
It's
So
Shoney's.
is it okay? So Shoney's. Simpson Design Shop. They didn't change their name, so I guess it's SSR now. Fanatic, I'm guessing, and is that it?
Group 6. I think they're still.
Group
I
6.
think they're
Okay.
still back on here. I
Okay.
know there's been some changes and everything, so that's the list I still have. So, but hey, you shout them out. That's good enough for me, you know, and they'll appreciate that as well. But of course, Jonathan, congratulations on your first win of the season. And I know we're only 3 races in, but it sounds kind of silly that it took you 3 to get your first one. So good luck next week at Charlotte. I know it's going to be another a tough one there. Jamie's been right there on your bumper all season long, and hopefully you're able to hold him off one more time. And we'll talk to you again next week.
All right, man. Thank you.
Have a great night.
You too.
So that was your win. Jonathan Jennings getting the win here tonight at Pocono Raceway. That's going to do it for us here at Pocono Raceway with the Shoney's Tuesday Night Racing Series here on Intensity Broadcasting. Of course, don't forget to hit that like button, follow, and subscribe. Check out all the links below. I forgot to shout out the Doghouse Racing League's website where you can find all your news, stats, and standings right there. So that's down in the link down below at doghouseracingle.com. Of course, our great partners over at the Butt Kicker, Race EPI, IntensityRacing.com. Don't forget to check us all out over there. All the links are down below. And that's going to do it for us here tonight. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. Hit that little notification bell so you know anytime we go live here on Intensity Broadcasting. And as our boy Atlee Atman Weiss would say, over and out.